Hello, I need to go.
You need to go where?
Home or get ready for work here a little bit.
Okay, we'll just have a seat and I'll get it for you.
Grant Hardin, a 50-year-old police officer, has been apprehended on suspicion of murder, revealing a chilling secret. During interrogation, it became evident that Grant's actions and offenses were of an extremely grave nature, leading him to resort to any means necessary to evade capture.
Apprehended on suspicion of murder, but as it would later transpire, his crimes and behavior were so bad that in his interrogation, he tried everything he possibly could to escape.
Can you uncover the disturbing truth behind a veteran police officer's chilling secret? Stay tuned. On February 23rd, a distressing incident unfolded on Glen Ridge Road when James Appleton, while engaged in a phone conversation with his brother-in-law, became the victim of a heinous crime. The conversation abruptly terminated with a loud, ominous noise, leaving James's brother-in-law on the other end perplexed. A witness at the scene observed a white Chevrolet Malibu parked behind James's vehicle, which hastily fled the area following the disturbing sound. Prompt investigations in Gateway, Arkansas, a small community inhabited by merely 400 individuals, swiftly determined the owner of the Chevy to be Grant Hardin, a lifelong resident of this town and a law enforcement officer. Upon inspection, James Appleton was discovered lifeless behind the wheel, having sustained a fatal gunshot wound to the head. Grant's vehicle was stopped at a police roadblock after a family dinner, resulting in his prompt apprehension for questioning. Unforeseen by all, Grant's extensive law enforcement background would turn this interrogation into one of the most difficult and demanding encounters ever faced by Arkansas police. Detective Chamberlain attempts to create a comfortable atmosphere by discussing Grant's career as a police officer, hoping to establish rapport and encourage disclosure. Will Grant's guard eventually crumble, revealing the chilling truth behind James Appleton's murder, or will he maintain his facade, leading the investigation down a labyrinth of deceit? But Grant takes advantage of the situation and complicates matters for the detectives. Unaware of the specific reason for his detention, Grant appears uneasy and unsettled, experiencing a shift in his status from detective to primary suspect for the first time. During the detectives' brief absence from the room to strategize their interview tactics, two objectives are achieved. Firstly, it allows them to plan their approach, while simultaneously instilling anxiety in the suspect left alone to contemplate the unfolding situation. Secondly, it grants the suspect an opportunity to formulate their own narrative, potentially gaining an advantage and putting the detectives on the defensive. Upon returning, the detectives employ a noticeably different strategy, seeking to alleviate Grant's concerns. They assure him that their sole aim is to clear him of any wrongdoing and facilitate his swift release. Such an approach often elicits increased cooperation from individuals eager to expedite their departure. Nevertheless, Grant has ulterior motives. Grant possesses extensive knowledge of the procedural aspects since he is a former police officer. He recognizes that the recitation of rights, a customary practice regardless of innocence, holds no bearing on his refusal to cooperate. It serves as a mere pretext for his silence, possibly intended to buy time. Grant's persistent silence poses a significant challenge for the detectives, hindering the investigation's progress and leaving them at a standstill. Frustrated by his refusal to cooperate, Detective Chamberlain decides to take a break to maintain emotional control during the critical investigation. During the pause, Grant strategizes while the detectives regroup. Typically, this point in the investigation leads to a decision on whether to gather more evidence or release the suspect due to insufficient proof. Contrary to the usual protocol, Grant is kept in custody for further questioning, allowing the police to gather additional information and consult witnesses to establish his presence at the crime scene. Grant's silence raises suspicions, which are further heightened when his wife provides an alibi that seems questionable. A witness, Andrew Tillman, who has known Grant since childhood, solidly places him at the scene of the crime when the fatal shot was fired. Grant recognizes that his only chance of escape lies in maintaining silence and hoping the detectives fail to gather enough evidence. Will Grant's desperate gamble pay off, leaving the detectives grasping at straws? In an attempt to break Grant's silence, the detectives resort to various strategies, including allowing him to see his wife and daughter, hoping it will provoke an emotional reaction that prompts him to speak. Detective Cordero changes her approach to Grant by returning alone and adopting a sympathetic demeanor. She reminds him of a past incident where he supposedly assisted her, aiming to create a perception of understanding. They engage in conversation, discussing non-case-related topics to build rapport. Cordero utilizes inclusive language and open body language to make Grant feel comfortable and involved. Despite their interaction, Grant remains silent when the focus shifts back to the case. Even reminders of his family fail to elicit a response, as Grant believes staying silent is his best chance to avoid consequences. Grant exercises his right to a lawyer, concluding the unproductive interrogation. However, the story doesn't end there. Grant and his attorney acknowledge the unlikelihood of his release without consequences. A witness implicates him in the crime, and it is revealed that Grant had a troubled employment history in law enforcement. Without disclosing his motive, Grant pleads guilty to first-degree murder, leaving James Appleton's family without closure. Surprisingly, during DNA collection, a match is discovered to be an unsolved crime from 1997. Grant is sentenced to 14 years for that crime, in addition to 21 years for the murder, resulting in a 35-year prison sentence that ensures his lifelong incarceration.